Hi everyone. I'd like to talk about a kind of a semi-serious thing today. I've noticed in my journey that the universe has thrown at me all kinds of dealing with personal life, trauma, dysfunction, and people come to me quite a bit, and I welcome it, and I'm happy that people find some sort of a solace in my words. And most of them have never heard me talk. A lot of them have only heard me write. So, here recently, a slew of people, you know who you are, I won't say anything, so. But there's a lot of dysfunction out there. I understand dysfunction a little bit differently than most people are told by their doctors. And I think you need to keep in mind that this is a perpetuated epidemic. They even tried to tell me my son, who hates school, wonder why, but is a boy and wants to do what boys do, be a child, have fun, inundated with all this pressure of society, and they try to tell me he's ADHD and want to put him on Ritalin so that the teachers can handle him. Teachers, I'm not going to blame, because teachers are overworked and they're overloaded with children from parents that are overworked and dealing with crisis on their own. So this whole functionality of society is fucked. And it's fucked for not just because that's the way they do it, but it's because it's the way we do it. Yeah. My son, wonderful kid. Freaking blow your mind away. Completely artistic. My daughter, same thing. Only she's not as talented as of an artist like I am, as she is the freaking most fabulous musician and composer that you'll ever meet in your life. She's perfectly functional at 21, and they were saying the same thing about her at 14. Like they were, well, hell, they diagnosed my son at like 10 as being too hyper. I don't know. School boring? Maybe? What are your parents doing? Are they worked? Were they taught to work so freaking hard? And taught to love their children at the same time, and there's a conflict of interest between nature and nurture. Nature is that your kids would be just fine without the nurture. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that because we all have these weirdo generations coming down on us with their whole beliefs, what they were whipped into, what their parents said, and what their preachers said. And all these preachers and parents and family were all affected the same way for generations, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And then you have you have these psychotic neurosis that has been labelized as the social, while we take our children who are completely innocent and who are completely individual, and we turn them into society, and we wonder what's wrong. Our society supports these criminal governments and fear-mongering, hate, give me your energy and your money people. And the society generates that. So now how is labeling somebody that will not comply to the box considered a mental illness? I'm a different kind of mom, and I can't say that I was always like this, because I had no idea about any of this as I was raising my children for the most of their year. But I did always remember to keep an open dialogue with them. And to this day, both of my kids will tell me stuff I don't even want to know. But that's a good thing. That means that they know they can tell me anything, and I'm not going to judge them. I might give them a little advice if I see a problem, but that's because of my own experience. They can take it or leave it. They can make their own experience, and I'm okay with that. You know, I've got 2 healthy, well-adjusted children, and I've even had to go to parent-teacher conferences and pretty much tell the teachers they're stupid and they're fucked, and they are boxing my children, and I don't want that. How do you build a new paradigm out of the old system? You can't. Now I got some notes here, and I'm going to look down and read them to you because I'm just not the best of speakers. That's just the way it goes. Sorry. So, anyway, I want to make sure that when people look at mental illness, now, you got to remember, mental illness is what you think is mental, right? An illness is a dysfunction. You're dying. Doctors are really happy to tell you you're dying. Here, I got a miracle cure. Always remember that doctors practice medicine, and they do not know medicine. Alright. So, we got to go back to this. I have a lot of friends that have been diagnosed as bipolar, or schizophrenic, or depression, anxiety, name the bunch that they have a drug for. Okay. So you need to consider, who told you that? Was it your family? Was it the establishment, the society, the institutionals? Who told you that you had a mental illness? You may have had a bad day or a bad few days. That's called trauma. Trauma, with time and some good friends, can go away without drugs. And you don't need somebody telling you there's something wrong with you because you think differently than they do. I'm sorry, 7 billion people on this planet, and we're all supposed to think alike? Impossible. Alrighty. So, how much did that cost you to get that diagnosis and to believe it? Well, you had to pay the doctor. You have to pay the drugs. Okay, that's physical. Your family looks at you down the side of their nose. They think you're screwed. the black sheep, stuff them under the rubbish. They're not, that's not me. That's not part of me. They're too weird. I'm weird. Happy about it. Alrighty. But what does that do to you? What does that diagnosis do to you? Considering everything everyone's told you. Not you thinking for you, but the pressure of society on you. How are your emotions? Are you too afraid? Are you too anxious? Are you too introvert? Extrovert? Think about it. What did the diagnosis, if somebody's saying you're fucking crazy, do to you? Why? You're crazy because you don't think the way they do? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. What did it do to you spiritually? The thing that most humans are suffering from spiritually is the lack of love. You don't feel love. You don't feel loved. You don't feel like you are worthy of being loved. Because everybody's saying you don't fit in. How is that correct? How is it correct? Your parents, your teachers, your friends, your enemies, your society, and religions, politics, mimic. I call those mental illnesses. I'm sorry, but when you have somebody that insists that I need to be saved, they don't know me. Why do I need to be saved? I don't need to be saved. I might not believe in your Jesus or your God, but it doesn't mean I don't believe in something higher. And my higher may not be an entity. My higher might be a philosophy, or a thought, or a compassion, or a respect. Isn't that what Jesus ultimately taught? Isn't that what Muhammad taught? Buddha? The only person that I saw that didn't teach that, and I was raised Roman Catholic, and I studied, was God. He's the only one who didn't say that in the Bible. The only person that mentioned love in the Bible was Jesus. I respect that. Not because he's the Son of God. I respect the message. To me, people are so freaking hung up on who said it rather than listening to what it said. Generations of people have been massacred on idol, not the message. Okay, so before I sit there and say, oh, it's everybody else's fault, here's my reasoning. Who taught them? And then who taught the teachers? For generations and generations. All of the slaughter because of ideals. What did that prove? All that did was put everybody in servitude because they were so afraid. And this has lasted for generations. It still is. The government does it now. Terrorists. Who's the terrorist? Think about it. who's the one running around starting wars with everybody? I don't believe it's somebody outside of us. Nobody better than another person, and everybody is right in their own mind. So there is no good or bad. Think about it. Even an evil person who does the most heinous crimes is not thinking of it as being a bad thing. And when it comes right down to it, there's lessons to be learned, and you can't kill the messenger. If you're going to kill the messenger, then, well, Jesus, God, anybody, you know what I mean? Come on. Think for yourself. Don't think because somebody told you to think that way. Think for yourself. If it feels wrong, don't do it. Easy as that. If you see a society that is wronged you and is wronging other people, and you're going to stand up for this cause or the other, dig it out of yourself. Alright. So, I flipped it. Notes. I'm not even going halfway through. Just kind of look important, right? Serious. What I want to teach you guys, and my biggest hope for humanity, is to get off the gravy train. Stop blaming everything on everybody else but yourself. Because you know what? They are in their own paradigm, and you are in your own paradigm. So if you do not like what you see out there, and it causes you inner conflict, as above, so below. If you're seeing that outer conflict, it's because it dwells within. Now take 7 billion people with inner conflict from their past, or their past lives, or their family, which everything's inherited. We're all dealing with that. All of us. I mean, even I, who have separated myself from humanity, basically. Actually, I just separated myself from the system, and I love humanity. But I still have my issues. Back problem here or there. Got to come up with money to pay, somebody something, whatever, because I'd rather barter, but people need money. I understand that. I mean, I can't put barter in my gas tank. I understand that. But, and it shouldn't have to be that way, because, first of all, as much as what you've heard, there is plenty to sustain even 7 billion people on this earth. But there is not plenty for nuclear weapons and pollution and that kind of thing. If you're going to piss in your freaking drinking water, well, there's something wrong, don't you think? And people don't think about that. They think it's all automatic, and it's like, you've never been to a farm, you've never been into nature. I mean, come on. Get the fuck out of the city once in your lifetime and go see what it's really about. And when you get there, if I see you flick a fucking cigarette butt on the ground, I'm going to punch you in the head. And that's going to be on Mom, because she's tired of it. We're all tired of it. We're all tired of you not thinking about life, for Christ's sakes. You don't piss in your water. You don't shit in your garden. I mean, think about it. People don't think about it. Oh, they love how pretty it is. But they expect it to clean itself. And that's not the way it works. When Mama decides to clean herself, she's going to blow your ass off into space. Is that what you want? Is that what you want for your children? Is that what you want for your friends? Is that what you want for another human being? Is to be disrespectful enough to blow it for everybody? Well, guess what? The 10% of us that are waiting for us not to blow each other up are waiting on you. There is no such thing as mental illness unless you include greed. That's a mental illness. Yet you're still paying them to tell you you're wrong. Really? Change it. For anybody that's ever had that mental illness, the worst problem I have in talking with them is them talking about how somebody said there was something wrong with them. That's not right. Same with families. Families, get your shit together. What's more important? An iPod, a television, a car, or food on the table for your family? Time spent to make sure your children are enriched. They're your pride and joy. They're your offspring, your legacy. So if anybody's going to bitch about the way the children are nowadays, look in the mirror. I've got beautiful children, by the way. My mom was a cunt, but that's another story. I love her anyway. I know, because I had to learn to love her. Life hasn't been good for me either. But I had to learn to forgive. Not for her. For me. And I did. And I can still call her a cunt. I can still call her a bitch. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I'm going to read one more thing, and then I'll get the hell out of here. This is like a long freaking video. And I want to say, first of all, see, I got it all written up. But I won't make you read. I want to say, I love you. I mean that very much. Very, very, very much. I love each and every one of you. Anybody that bothers to pay attention to me now or later, attention isn't what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is to send the energy so that you know you're never alone. I'm right here with you. I'm available. I don't want anything in return. I just want humanity to know someone loves them. And if that's enough to change the world, we're one. I want a better world for my children. I want a better world for all of our children. I want a better world for me. Is there anything else I forgot to say? Oh, I wrote this. I said, if you believe in God, then why would you think God makes junk and therefore you deserve such punishment? That sounds more like a man's rule, a greedy man's rule, a man that didn't have a loving family, a man that didn't have good support by his teachers, and his religion, and his spiritual growth. Equally. Me too. I love you.